Hey guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris.
You're not actually drinking pickle juice out of the jar, are you?
I am. Every time the pickles are gone, I drink the pickle juice.
Okay, right before we started recording, you go, "Hold on, I'm thirsty. I gotta go into the get something to drink."
Yes.
Which I assumed water, coffee.
Well, I didn't want something
soda,
carbonated.
and I didn't realize this until we started recording, and I paid attention that you're literally drinking pickle juice out of the jar.
I am. It is wonderful.
Disgusting.
It's wonderful.
That is so disgusting.
I bet you 50%
Wow.
of our listeners drink pickle juice out of the jar.
I've never seen anyone do that before.
All right,
and
I'm putting
kind
it up
of
as a
concerned.
Spotify poll. If you're on
I'm
Spotify
kind
and you're
of
listening,
concerned.
if you're on Spotify and you're listening, we're putting it up as a poll.
You're thirsty? This is your refreshing drink that you go to? This is your go-to.
Sodium. 290 milligrams of sodium.
I'm really thirsty. Yeah, that's terrible. That is not going to quench thirst.
Sodium is an electrolyte, Jake.
Yeah, it's also salt, which how often do you get on me about salt? Okay, anyways. Hey, guys. Welcome to Overcrest. That's
I'm Chris,
the pickle drinker, and I am
Pickle Man. It's good. You should try it.
Welcome
Have you ever tried?
to
Here's the thing. Have you ever tried it?
Overcrest.
Have you ever had a dirty martini or something where they pour pickle juice? Okay, well
that's
olive juice, isn't it?
It's not. Yeah, that's not pickle juice.
It's not. It's not.
Totally different. Totally different.
Oh man. So
There
here
is-
we are.
there is a drink with pickle juice, but regardless,
we're back. Have we ever been?
we're back.
Have we ever been gone, dude? I have these little.
I don't think we were gone.
I
What
have
are you
these
doing?
Costco microfibers everywhere in the garage because they're so
They just
cheap.
exploded.
Oh, they're everywhere. I have these.
Yeah,
things.
but you gotta. Why don't you rip the tag off? You have to rip the tag off of them before you
I
use
don't use them for cars. I use them for
It
garage
doesn't
for
matter.
cleaning up.
It gets in the way. Anytime
what
I
else
grab one of
has-
those, I also have a bunch of those, and I pull the tag every time.
Here's what bothered me. I have a huge problem with this. You know what else
Uh-oh.
has tags on it that shouldn't, and you have to take them off every time?
You know what else grinds my gears?
Women's panties. There's nothing like having your wife put on a pair of sexy underwear, and they're
Well,
like
that's her
sheer or
problem.
lace
She
or whatever.
should have taken the tag off first.
I know, but like you go, like you're on a trip and you're going to the hotel and you're gonna
You're
have
on
some
a
fun,
trip.
do whatever, and you go, oh, we're
Uh-huh.
gonna stop at this place. You buy the thing. She goes and changes, walks out, and there's like a tag inside and you're just
Again, that's a complaint you need to raise with her.
like,
I understand what you mean, but most of those tags actually are like perforated and removable.
what did you just say?
They're perforated.
You mean perforated?
Perforated.
Perforated is like
they're
I'm trying to think
preferentially aided.
I don't think
Perforated.
that's a word. Okay, so tickets for the
yes.
rally are done. We're full. We're over full.
Dude.
You know that like if you fill up a glass of water and you keep filling it up little by little by little, all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's like over the top of the water.
Yeah, you get the
and
surface
the only
tension
thing
that's
holding the
holding it.
water in is the surface tension of the water,
Right.
and it's
That's
like
where we're
above-
at.
That's where we're at. And like
I don't want to. I want to stop, and I don't want to be too like lighthearted about this because people are upset that they didn't get in, and I would be too.
I would be
But
too. I
believe
was thinking
me,
about how
like,
I would react if this were me. I would be.
Yeah.
I would be pissed. I would
You'd be bitter, right? You'd be bitter.
would.
Like
And a
there's
bitterness
so
from
many cool cars, and even like close friends that we didn't and couldn't let in.
And I think
And
the bitterness
it's-
for me would come from my desire to do it. And the higher my desire to do it, the more the bitterness would be apparent. I mean, there's some social media stuff that was made that were like, F these guys. You know, this is before
I'm
the
sure.
second wave even went out. People were like, I didn't get in. I'm like, well, yeah, now, I mean, with that attitude, I'm glad you didn't. It's just
right. But what I want to say is like we don't take any of it lightly. I think is the point I want to get across.
I mean,
Like,
it was.
we're so like I think honored. Humbled is the wrong word, but we're honored that people want to be a part of what we built here, and we've been putting in a ton of work. It's not something we just threw together. And
It is more than a full-time job. I must have.
It is.
I'm easily 30 hours a week. A week
Well, that's
all
not
year.
a full-time job, Chris. That is not a full-time job.
Well, it almost is. You know, I think you're supposed
This
to
is
get
more than a
benefits at
part-time
30.
job.
What
How
time
about
do you?
that?
How many hours a week do you have to work to get benefits?
I
32.
think it depends on the company, but yeah, 32 is
Okay,
usually
so it's a
0.8,
32
they call it.
But I don't get any benefits.
No,
I don't have health.
neither do
insurance.
I.
Yeah.
No, only benefits I get are Chris yelling at me when it's like 2 a.m. when did that email go out yet? Why didn't you do that? That's you for some reason.
Is that
I
what I
guess, in
sound
that
like?
Voice? No,
It
not
sounds
at
like a
all.
Muppet.
Yes, you would be the most angry Muppet. Isn't there the dude that has like the eyebrows and no eyes, and he's just grumpy?
Isn't
That's
that
you.
Oscar the Grouch?
No, there's like a you know how some Muppets are people looking, not like
Yeah, well,
monsters. Yeah.
yeah, they kind of look more like aliens or anything.
Anyways, we don't take it lightly. It really sucks. Like,
do you want to
should I just read the email that we had to send out?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll read that.
Let me find it here, because that'll. I mean,
that was so. I usually write most of the content that has to do with anything we do. So I write the emails. I write what goes on the website. I write things. I write things. That's what I do. And half the time I write things that are really good, and you guys water it down a little bit. And that's okay. Like sometimes there's some profanity in what I write, and you guys are
either get profanity or get way too like verbose and flowery. And I'm like, I know you're genuine when you write it and mean it, but most people seeing that in an email would be like, this is over the top, and they don't mean it. So yes,
but I do.
There's some...
Anyway, so I tried to
write this
email.
One. You couldn't,
and I wrote it like 4 times, and I couldn't figure it out. So I just wrote a really shitty version, and then sent it to you and Jeff to figure out.
And then Jeff rewrote it, and then I actually added and rewrote it a little bit more. You want me to actually just read it? Is this a benefit to anyone?
How long is this?
It's not long. 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Subject line, it's not no. It's just not this time. We know this isn't the email you wanted to get, and it definitely isn't the one we wanted to send. The Overcrest rally is full, and we simply can't take any more people with us this year. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your interest and the support, truly. Reading through everyone's stories and hearing the passion for driving made us so excited. We wish we could let everyone in, but we just can't. It sucks. The towns are too small, and the roads are too few.
Stop. We don't need to read this. Here's the concept.
No,
okay?
the last thing. Here's what I'm going to say. We would love to open the rally up to 500 cars, but that would turn the Overcrest rally into something else. It becomes something you wouldn't apply to attend to in the first place.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what it comes down to. Is like everybody wants
to
be
there.
There.
Hope you understand. Don't hold it against us. We're not trying to be assholes. Honestly, we feel really
not.
We struggled with it. Like we feel
really
bad.
Here's the deal. It's really important to me that the rally doesn't change. Right. I want it to be the same thing that it was in the Minnesota, Mississippi River Valley.
Right.
I want it to feel the same as it did in Utah. And that means it's capped. It just is. You start letting 2, 3, 200 cars, 150 cars in, it becomes something that nobody would have applied for in the first place. It becomes not the Overcrest rally. So that's generally the reason. Other reasons cars didn't get in, they're too new. They're too fast. A lot of like really new fast cars. It's just not the vibe that we're going for. Maybe your essay was not very good. Like if you wrote
or you just didn't care. Like some people didn't seem to care that much to put in the effort to the essay.
Yeah,
and that's why we say
really
the essay does matter.
I mean, there's guys that wrote like 4 paragraphs of like why driving matters to me.
More than that,
and
for sure.
So it's if you wrote like I think it would be cool, and someone else wrote like a 4-paragraph essay about why they want to come in. There you go. That
and it's not like this is. We're not trying to put you through. I don't know, like writing school again. And
we are.
Write an essay for the heck of it. It's just we want to know. Like we want to get to the bottom of how passionate you are about it. We want the right people there, because someone who's just like, it's my first rally, has looked cool. I don't want them as much as someone who's like.
I kind of do want that guy though. I want that guy that it's his first rally. I want to fuck that guy's life perspective up.
Bottom line, we can move on after this. Bottom line, we realize it sucks if you didn't get in, and we were overwhelmed with the amount of interest this year. And
thank you. And we've got something coming.
Thank you.
Especially if you're from the Pacific Northwest and you didn't get in, don't worry. We got something that's going to be.
We're trying to make this as accessible as possible for people and inclusive.
Yeah, we got something coming. That's all I'll say. So, we've got something coming for you that you'll be able to come hang out with on the rally.
So and, I feel kind of like a relief now that registration is over.
Me too.
It sucks, right? And people are upset, and people are excited, or people whatever. Follow along. Don't hold it against us.
Please don't. Please apply next year.
Yeah. And one thing I want
here's
you're right. To your point about like, it's my first rally. I want different people to experience this. I don't want it to be the same group of people every year, because then no one else can experience it. Right.
Yeah, there's some veterans of rally that didn't make it.
Next year, we want to see new faces and the same vibe and keep it going. So,
all right,
that's that.
Jake, look.
Yes.
Look at my camera. What have we got here? That is a
Yeah,
Golf
that's
R.
the
Did
Golf
you
R.
know
What year is that? How long
that
have
is
you
a
had that?
2019 Golf R?
The 19
I've had it
Golf R.
for almost 2 years. I've
Okay.
put, or between Jesse and I, this is what Jesse mainly drives. I don't drive
Sure.
this car very much.
That's the only newer reliable car. Well, not reliable. That's the only newer car you have, basically.
It is the only newer car that we
I was
have.
going to say reliable.
What years were the
any
Mark
of your
7?
Mercedes are much more reliable than that thing.
Honestly,
That's not true.
the diesel probably is.
Diesel,
All right, so
yes.
the 2015 to 2021, they made this car. So they made.
Did they
I
make it every
think-
year? Okay.
Yeah, 2015.
Bugs
they
me a
made-
little bit, and I'll
It's
tell you why.
kind of a rare car. I
Tell
didn't
me
realize
why
this, but
or what number you think is rare.
okay, so what number do you think makes a car
Well, here's what I
rare?
compare it to and why the Golf R is a great car. I know it's fast, it's practical, it's small enough, it's the right size, but here's my problem with it. I was a huge fan. My dream car for the longest time was the Mark IV R32,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I had that car and I loved it. And that they made for 1 year at the end of the generation, 2004, and they put the VR6 in it. It was all-wheel drive. Like, that was a very special car in the model lineup, and they made 5,000 exactly. That
Yep.
was it. And then they didn't do
How many
anything
years
for
did they
another
make it for?
4 years.
How many years did
made it
they
for
make the Mark
1 year. They
They
made the
made
Mark IV
5,000.
R32
At no
for
point
1
in
year.
1 year did they make 5,000 Golf Rs. At no point in 1 year. They
Okay.
had open for more years.
But here's my
But-
point, right? And then in 2008, they didn't do an R until 2008 at the end of the Mark V lineup. And
Yep,
then they
and
did
that thing
another
sucked.
R32 for 5 years. Well,
And that was a
wouldn't have
DSG
sucked
only.
if it had a manual. Yeah,
Why
that
do
was
you
the only
think
thing.
they did that? Why did they do DSG link? Were they trying to
Well,
that was
keep-
relatively new technology
Yes,
with the Mark V,
exactly.
the DSG.
in the time frame, it was very cool to have paddle shifters, right?
Mhm,
And these are
it
real
was.
paddle shifters. And it's a DSG. It's a dual
What is
clutch.
it? What define real paddle shifters? What's not
Tiptronic.
a real?
Tiptronic is not a real paddle shifter. It's an automatic transmission that is
Right.
electronically actuated. A
Yeah,
DSG.
do you have paddles with Tiptronics?
yes,
Who has a paddle? Who does that?
Porsche,
Audi, Porsche.
Yeah.
Audi, okay.
Audi, my Cayenne has that. So that, I think, is the difference, and that's why they thought it was cool at the time, and then they realized their error because they didn't know their market.
Right.
But that's why I feel like the Golf R, as great as it is, it's not that I don't like it. I like it, but it doesn't live up to my perception of what like a Volkswagen R car should be, because it
what
doesn't
if it was a
have
VR6 manual?
100%.
Then it would
That's
it would live up to it.
100% would match up to it. Although I wouldn't want them to make it every year. I would still want it to be more rare or exclusive, if that makes
So
sense.
you want it to be more like the Porsche model where everything is, you can't have it because they didn't make enough of them, rather than just selling the great car to whoever wants the great car.
I know. I don't like that on principle, but somehow I do like the exclusivity of it.
Why?
You
What
can't
if,
have it both
if
ways.
you can
I don't know.
sell more cool cars to people, why not sell the cool cars to people?
Because in my mind, it's not as cool then if everyone else has one. That's a pretty common perception. And I understand it as a business model. I hate it because I don't like the Ferrari mantra of like, if 500 people want to buy this car, we're going to make
It's the hype beast
499
thing.
of
That's
them.
what, Porsche's become a hype beast company.
Right. I don't,
I don't like
that on
that.
its face, but I do get the idea if I have it and they're rare, like, it's cool to have it.
Yeah, I
Right?
hate that. I hate that attitude. That is like
Yeah,
No,
but what if
we're very polarized on this, that's for sure.
I know, but even your old 911, long hood 911, what if every guy that drives a Civic right now and that's their like cool car had an old 911? They would not be as unique.
Dude,
It's
they
not
made
even-
more than 911 than they did the Golf R.
Okay, so yeah, that's where we started. How many of those did they make?
They've made 16,000 total.
Okay. Over from 2015 to
5,
5-ish
6 or 5 to 6, 7
Okay.
years.
Yeah. So
This
I
is
mean, it's
rough
more
math,
than
I'm
you'll
just looking at
see Mark R32s, but over a time
I
period,
mean, they made, how
didn't
many
make as many.
911s did they make?
We've done this before.
I know, but let's say,
like
how
over
many-
what time period?
okay, this is like 992
Like
time
per
period.
year?
So how many 992 Porsche
911s?
911s were made? Porsche 992.
1600 a year.
This is not. Well, there's 23 new models being listed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
I can't. Porsche sales production.
What you do
numbers.
is you go to Porsche 911 on Wikipedia, and then it'll show you production.
Okay, here we go.
across the
20,
lineup.
dude. Okay, Porsche sales. These are global numbers. This isn't going to help me. Maybe I need to put
Probably
production
not.
numbers. 992, 911 production numbers.
Yeah.
Production numbers by year. Sure, I'll take that.
Yep. Over or
Okay.
under 1,600 per year. Probably more.
More.
Well,
it's around
US.
2,500 per year.
In the U.S.
Nah,
only?
It's got to be way more than that. There's so many more dumbasses running around in new 911s than.
Regardless, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's around 10,000.
It's not a
Okay, here we go.
common.
2018. Why do they list it out by month? Just what are you doing? Oh, so
That's how they get the numbers.
yeah, but I don't need that granular
Well, then
of
just
data.
add
Put it
12
this way,
numbers together.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, probably around 10 to 15,000 911s per year. Per
Okay.
year. Okay.
Really?
Golf R,
Wow.
1,000 to 2,000 per year.
Yeah.
Way rarer than a 911. You'll
Well,
see
and you
a
know why that
911
is.
tooling around with somebody with like big sunglasses that are too big for their face, that are super
Yeah.
tinted. You know,
But-
that's
And here's why they didn't sell or make as many of them is because they were very expensive for the segment, right? Like you
What was the
compare the Golf
MSRP
R
on a-
new to what are you cross shopping that with? A WRX maybe?
2019 Golf MSRP starting at $41,000.
Yep.
All right.
WRX was probably 30. I think that's the best direct comparison.
37 for an STI.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, that's an
come
STI.
on. Okay, so Focus.
An STI
are
would
at-
blow the doors off that.
In what way? Oh, Focus?
No.
Did you say Focus?
STI?
In what way?
Power, performance,
Yeah,
not fit to finish.
from
I
the
would
reviews
want
that I
the
saw,
Golf.
it's kind of like, what are you after?
Exactly.
Like, what kind of
yes.
dynamics do you want?
Correct.
Let's
But
look at
like if you put that thing on an autocross or something with
Ford
an
Focus
STI.
RS, $41,000. I think it's all these
Okay,
elite
it's all
hot
right in there.
hatches are kind of like
Right. But
right in that.
I think the other thing too is like, yeah, people aren't buying that when you could shop that with a entered sports car name here. You know what I mean? If that's what you're looking for.
I guess
The segment
I
of
don't know.
people that want a family car that is a sports car, I think is actually quite small that are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the hot hatch is a unique market too, in general.
Well, yeah, and then it got watered down by the hot mini SUV.
Oh, true that. The hot crossover.
Yep, the hot crossover.
Hot crossover.
As Joel Feder would say, my big hot hatch, the Macan Turbo.
Yep. No.
I do like that car. Have you driven that? You should
Jesse
drive
wants me
that.
to back the Porsche out of the garage for her. No, I will not do that. You can do it.
Where is it?
It's next to the Golf.
Oh, okay. So are we going to hear lots of noise?
No, you probably won't. So what's funny is like some people are like, wow, your Mercedes sounds really good when you started it up on the podcast. But I inserted the sound of a Matra V12 starting up.
Are you kidding? I didn't listen to it because
Yeah,
at
so
the
anybody that's
time you
listening
couldn't
that-
hear it. You couldn't hear
Anybody
it.
that sounds
Oh my
thinks
God, that's
that the
hilarious.
Mercedes
I
sounds
forgot about that.
amazing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actual Matra V12.
That's really funny. Jesus. Oh my God.
So have you
Okay,
been
well-
working on any projects? Because I came over to your house yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't even know.
Yeah,
And
2 days ago.
Rather than working on your 951,
Dude,
you
yeah.
went to the store and bought wood to do a deck instead.
Yep.
What
I
what
was
is
trying to
wrong
figure
with
this
you,
out
dude?
with Nikki. I don't know. I was trying to figure this out with Nikki. I've been really stressed with lots of different projects we're working on and things going
Mhm.
on. And this last weekend, we had no plans, nothing planned. And
Yeah.
I think it was this mindset of great, I have time, but I'm in like manic mode where I need to just continue to keep doing things because that's been my baseline. So I was looking at the deck. Oh, some boards are rotting and pulling through. I'm going to go do that. I'll do that real quick. That'll be great. Let's do that this weekend. Let's redo the deck. Replace the
Dude,
boards.
all you need
stain
to
it.
do is,
You're good to
like-
go. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to go do that. But then I got there and I got all the lumber and I put it on there and we got that far. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm done. Like
So the lumber is still leaning on your deck right now.
No, I pulled it up on the deck and I want to get the boards replaced this week. before
Dude, here's the
Road
deal.
America.
Jake.
What? I don't know. It's
Listen
you know what
to
this
me.
is? This
Listen.
is classic ADD.
I understand.
Classic
Listen
ADD.
to me. You have money.
Uh-huh.
Just pay someone to fix the deck and then spend the time working on the car. That things like the thing you want.
Here's the other thing.
Just
I don't
dude,
like working
farm
on
it
that
out.
car
Just hire
anymore.
a guy, dude. You have money. Just hire a guy to do the deck. Just hire someone.
And then I'll hire you to come over and just finish the 951. It's so stupid close. I've probably you looked at it.
I refuse to get paid to work on anybody else's car. This happens a lot. I get messages.
Oh, really?
They're like, "Hey, man, yeah, someone." When I finished that red Mercedes and got that, dragged it out and got it going, the guy that sold it to me, or for I think nothing. It was free. Yeah, that was free. I think I sold it for $2,200. Not that one was not worth the flip. Anyway, so he sent me a message. Hey, I've got like a 280 SL, which is like a $120,000 car, I think. Do you want to get it running and fix it and restore it for me? And
why not?
No, I don't want to be responsible for that because I'm a total fuck up.
Yeah, you're not a
shop.
Mechanic,
I don't have
right?
insurance. I'm not going to be responsible for that type of thing.
Okay,
there's no way.
Like, hobbyist.
I'm also not finishing your 951.
Okay,
I'm not going to
blame you there.
I also don't want to do it. I don't. One, dude. You want to know something hilarious? So, do you remember when I was telling you about the guy with the 944 at the gas station that pulled up to the gas station, got out of his car, and walked over to me and goes, "Love your 911. Wish it was perfect 50-50 weight balance like my 944." And then he's sticking his thumb over his shoulder.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this?
I know this happened to you, but it's like a meme. To me. Like this is a stereotype that's what 944 guys do because there's this inadequacy, thing.
It's a Napoleon complex is what it's called.
You're right. Yeah.
That same thing that you have.
That's the one I was talking about. Actually, I've had a lot of kudos for being a short guy that I don't have a Napoleon complex.
You actually don't, which is nice. Okay, so I was on Threads.
There's plenty of other things you can make fun of me for. Short doesn't bother me.
My dad has a Napoleon complex. It is, and it is ruthless.
Most
he's
most
like
short
a
guys
narcissist with a Napoleon complex. It is a horrible complex. Okay, so I was on Threads, the new app that is completely terrible. I hate it.
Okay, I do not understand it, but yes, go ahead.
You can tell me that afterward. I want to try and get through this. 944 Fest apparently is a show that is 944s only.
Okay.
And
do we know where this is?
Asked, he posted about his event or whatever, and I said, does this event have 50-50 weight balance? Is what I asked on Threads as just being like coy and funny. And he goes, actually, it's 50.7 to 49.3. And I go, well, every 911 owner knows that. And he goes, not every 911 owner yet. You see, we have this one guy in a brown NA that travels from gas station to gas station, waiting by the pumps to enlighten unaware 911 passerbys. It is a thankless job, but someone's got to do it. And I go, this has legitimately happened to me. Similar thing happens every time I meet a vegan. It's like, what's the joke? Is how do you know someone's vegan? If you don't have to know, they'll tell you. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, exactly.
As dude, I don't.
I like that dude is self-deprecating though,
sitting in
joking.
In that guy's driveway.
Yeah.
Is he though?
Don't do it.
Is he?
Don't
he whipped out its 50.3 to 49.7 weight balance instantly.
That's funny. I think it's funny.
I just can't do it. It's like Miata owners. They think it's the best shit ever.
What about them?
And is there any 944 guy in the world that isn't insane or clinically insane or has an IQ less than 80, which is average, by the way, less than 80, that wouldn't trade straight up their 944 for a similar condition?
By the definition of IQ, average is 100. By the definition.
Is it? Okay, so we're still going less than 80,
this
I think that's what it would take for somebody to not do this.
Okay, yes.
Whatever.
Anyways.
Is there any not insane person that wouldn't trade their 944? Or let's even do this. Let's bring 912 into the picture. Let's bring in 912.
Okay.
Is there anyone that wouldn't trade their 944 or their 912 for a 911?
No, just because of value.
let's take value out of it. Okay,
I know.
let's take value out of it. Now, again, would you trade come on, guys? This
I for
a
sure
944 is
I hate
fine.
these things. I will say they look
There's
good
a bunch of
in
them on
their
the
own
rally.
right.
We did let them in. I tried to keep my bias.
We let
aside.
them in.
Them those heathens, those low IQ dunderheads.
Hey,
no,
I own one. I'm
Exactly.
worried
That's
that I'm really gonna
proving
like
my
it.
point.
I'm worried, Chris, that I'm really gonna like it.
So you have a 951, which with a bigger. Do you have a bigger turbo?
Yes.
So you're going to have a zoomie. It's going to have the zoomies, as my kid would say. That's the thing. That's what all the kids say is your car is going to have the zoomies.
It's lightly modified. It'll be slightly faster than a Turbo S.
Okay. Kind of cool. But it's still like the fast version of the thing I don't like.
Exactly.
And this comes from
I'm right there with you.
I look at one and I go, ooh, boy, those look cool. Right? I'm like, man, look at that thing. That looks cool.
It is a cool looking car.
I love the rear. I love the pop-up headlights.
I love
the rear
always
three-quarter view.
Yeah.
I love the view. I love the little plastic spoiler in the back, the little the rubber spoiler in the back. And when you get in, and you sit in it, the driving position is so good. I mean, it is so good.
It's pretty good.
And then you actually drive it,
and that weight balance,
and you go,
and then that weight balance. There's nothing here.
The thing is, and there's I love slow car fast, right? I love slow car fast, but here's the thing: it's a Porsche sports car. It should be faster than it is, man. It should and if it's not faster than it is, it should have some characteristic that makes me feel kind of good. Like an old GTI is slow.
I was going to say,
but it's got a close ratio gearbox and it's high revving and it.
Sure. You're a big proponent.
It just doesn't have
you have to look at the car
sparkle.
in the
There's
context
no sparkle to it.
Of its time period. Yeah, but again, look at it in the context of its time period.
I know.
Was it that
still
slow at the time?
What's the horsepower on a? I got to look this up because I'm not a big Porsche 944 nerd.
On
so
a naturally aspirated 944 is
944 horsepower.
160.
I'm going to guess 130.
170. I think it's 150-ish.
That's 160 horsepower. That's more than I thought it had. But look at this. The turbo, 217 horsepower. That's where it's at.
I didn't hear you. How much?
217 for the turbo.
Yeah.
217?
How much is the
Why
turbo?
Why can't you hear me? What's going on?
250? Because one of our connections is very poor.
Hold on. I'm going to pause this and we'll be right back.
Okay. So now that we're back and connected well, how much horsepower did the stock 944 have? I didn't hear you.
160 horsepower.
Okay. And the turbo was 217. Did you look up the Turbo S?
260.
Okay. So I'll be just over 260 then.
Right.
275-ish probably.
Right.
280. But I don't know. I still these cars are such a pain in the ass, dude.
What makes them a pain in the ass? This is not man. I can't wait to title this thing "Never Buy a 944." Get some
basically
some clickbait going on.
It's just everyone is all about the timing belt and how terrible it is to do the timing belt on this thing because you have to remove a bunch of stuff and remove the radiator and everything else. Honestly, that job is easy compared to just everything else is so crammed in these things, and it's a big engine bay. But that was the biggest 2-cylinder at the time ever made, a 2.5 liter.
Yep.
And there's just so much going on with that car, and there's so many systems they tried to shove in there, and everything is 35 years old at this point.
It's all vacuum lines for emissions and everything else too.
Yeah, you saw my list when you were over, and it just said
it's a very
vacuum
short
line
list.
nightmare.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I know. And so here's part of the problem is we need to come up with a term, or maybe we have. What is it when you just lose all motivation on a project? Project stall.
Here's your problem. You don't have the patience. You need to be able to do something and you need to ring the bell and the little treat needs to come out.
Instant gratification. Yes.
You do. I mean, from
100%.
what I gather from you, you need to be able to be
I am good at
you ring the bell, the treat
projects.
comes out, Jake eats the treat, and that's I don't know what the car version of that is, but it's you kind of need that.
Well, this thing has been going on for over a year.
Yeah, but so you've had a year and a half with an engine case for a 911 sitting around that you haven't done anything
probably
with.
more than that too. Yeah,
okay,
that's in the
2
basement.
years because you want to build a short stroke 2.5 or whatever you want to do. Okay, why haven't you done anything?
Not a priority.
I was over there yesterday. We could have pulled the case apart. Why not?
Because then I have
Why
another
say no?
thing. Because then I have another thing going on. That's another project.
It is going on. It's going on.
No, it's not. It's sitting down in the basement. It's tucked away nicely. That's fine. I'm gonna wait. That I won't get to that. Maybe I should take the case apart so then I can send it out to machining because it will take another year to get back, anyways.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
So what do you,
but guess what? I have no room to do it because my garage is full of 944 crap. So it just
it
finish
didn't make the damn thing, dude. Just set aside a day, plug the vacuum lines in, plug the injectors. The car is so close to done. Just get it done. This isn't even one of those cases where the last 5% are the hardest.
It's not. I'm at easy mode now. It's just motivation.
Yeah,
I've hit a wall. I need to just take a day off and do nothing but that, and I could get it done.
There you go. Let's do it. Do you want me to come over and help you?
Not this week because we're stressing to get out to Road America, which we should mention too.
Yes.
We'll recap that next week.
Yeah.
But our favorite weekend of the year, the Road America Vintage Races.
Well, before we get to, let's talk about Road America too. We can talk about some of my projects next because I have some stories I could potentially tell. But before we do that,
potential
I'm going to drink some pickle juice while you talk about Petrol Box.
It's so gross. Yeah, Petrol Box, not gross. As you guys know, it's a monthly service made specifically for the automotive enthusiasts.
You know what's kind of weird about this is that you have to drink it through. No, you have to drink it through your teeth, so you don't get any of the dill particles or pickle particles.
So disgusting.
So you kind of suck it through your teeth.
I do want to know if people just that's what you choose. Oh, what do we got? We got soda, we got water, maybe we got a Gatorade. No, I'm going to go with pickle juice. Do you save? So clearly there were pickles in there, and then they ate all the pickles, and then you kept the jar full of the pickle juice minus the pickles in the fridge for later?
Yes.
This is something you were savoring.
Yes.
Okay, you were savoring. Okay. Well, you know what you can also savor? Much better than pickle juice is Petrol Box because it is the gift that keeps on giving every single month because it is a subscription service. Right there to your door, you will get a surprise selection of tools, detailing supplies, apparel, garage gear, stickers, publications, t-shirts, whatever kind of cool gadget that's new that month. It's a curated selection of the latest, greatest in the industry. There's actually 2 different levels that you can choose from. You can get the Petrol Box Basic. That costs less than $20 a month. And you get the Petrol Box Premium, which is $39.95 a month. I'm sorry, we did not jump up in price, which is actually quite impressive that they haven't ever jumped up in price.
That's true.
Check those guys out, mypetrolbox.com. Be sure to use the code Overcrest at checkout. It will get you $6 off. It is a great deal. It's a great box. Makes a great gift. Really enjoy it.
Everything over here runs pretty good right now. Other than the trooper sitting here.
Better knock on that big slab of wood in front of you.
What slab of wood?
What is your counter made of?
Well, it's a machinist bench.
Yeah,
that's wood.
Yeah, and I said you better knock on wood.
Oh,
because you just said everything is running great.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
I know there's not.
That's all bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. So you were going off about needing to get rid of your carburetors on the 911, and I just need to go to EFI. I'm going to go throttle bodies. I'm sick of dealing with it. Says the guy who is all about period correct and carbs are great. I don't understand why people get rid of all this.
Do you ever just get frustrated and say shit? Do you ever just say something and not really mean it?
I may have ADD, but I am not as reactionary as you.
I am quite reactionary. No. That's true.
Yes.
So I wanted to. I don't know how to talk about this because
you had a hissy fit.
No. Listen.
Okay.
I don't know how to talk about this because the motor in my car is really good. The engine.
Yeah.
But when I picked the car up, it was not tuned well. Okay.
Okay.
Tuning it had been on the dyno, did 280 wheel horsepower or whatever, and it ran great at wide open. Well, it ran well at wide open throttle on the dyno. And as you know, what people may not know is tuning for wide open throttle and power with carburetors is very easy.
It's
because
one thing. It's linear.
It's one thing.
Like you just
wide open, maximum, and the fuel that you get at maximum wide open throttle. It's not a progressive it's not a
Correct.
progressive change of a butterfly inside the throttle body where the vacuum and the volume in the air is changing at the same time, creating different pressures and different.
That would be basically a three-dimensional tuning map is what you're talking about there. If we wanted to look at like EFI, it applies to carburetors, right? Because you have a curve for your air versus your fuel, and then you also have, your speed and your volume or your air pressure, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So wide open throttle, it's easy. You just
it's very
get the correct
difficult.
ratio. And
there's all kinds of parts. You've got a main jet, you've got an emulsion tube, you've got an air corrector, you've got an idle jet, which isn't really idle jet is a misnomer. It is a low speed jet.
Correct.
Is what it really should be called.
It pulls it through the transition circuit as well.
Yes. So it did not run well when I picked it up.
Okay.
It didn't return to idle at all. And it didn't have wide open throttle either. So it didn't, go either way, all the ways. I don't even know what kind of power it would make now. Didn't return to idle, so I had to adjust the linkage. And it was extremely rich, which means it would never return to idle. It would always, it would creep up, and then it would get into the main circuit, and then it would just run away and come up to like 2,000 RPMs. So then you'd have to put it in gear, hit the brake at the light. You'd have to put it in gear, hit the brake,
keep it down,
release the clutch to like bog the engine down to get the idle to come out. It was horrible to drive. Okay.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It was very frustrating. It did not run well. So then I get home. I drove it all the way across the country like this. Not happy. It's just and horrible fuel economy. Just not good.
Oh, I suppose,
And you can run the low speed circuit really, really rich to cover issues with progression circuit. And progression circuit is as you're accelerating, as you're rolling onto the throttle into your cruise. So that initial tip in, that's your progression circuit. And that almost always will go lean if you don't tune for it. It will always go lean. The carburetor just is like, oh, there's more air. What am I doing?
It's the difficult part.
It's hard. It's very hard. Yeah. That's the hardest thing to do, is to get your car to accelerate smoothly and then just cruise and then come back to idle. That's the hardest thing. If anybody's like, look how good this thing runs, 280 horsepower, it's fucking awesome. Very easy to tune that. Tuning drivability on carburetors is very, very difficult. There's so many variables. So anyway, I get it home, and I didn't drive the car. I didn't drive it because it was not good to drive. It was not fun to drive. It was very fun to drive wide open throttle.
Right.
It is one hell of a fucking engine. It is.
Did
awesome.
you, when you decided you didn't want to drive it because you were frustrated, did you know it was because carburetors?
Yeah.
Or were you just like, this is the way the motor behaves now?
No. I knew it was the carburetors. Like I've done this enough, and I've had it around enough that I knew. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay. So then I started I wanted to kind of start figuring out what was going on.
Right.
So I started, I assumed, and you know what they say about assuming, it's not a good thing to do. And this was my problem, was I assumed a lot. So I assumed.
What were your assumptions you were working
I assumed that it had the correct emulsion tubes in it.
Okay.
I assumed that the idles were probably close. I assumed that the main jets were probably close.
Were any of these things changed when the motor was rebuilt?
I don't know. I don't remember. Okay. It's too long. Okay. I kind of, honestly, I kind of doubt it. Yeah, I kind of doubt it. I think he changed. I think the idle jets were changed. They were made bigger to be really rich to overcome other issues. So here's what you do. Okay. You tune at idle, you tune for what's called lean best. Right. So you turn the fuel off slowly, and then the idle will rise. And then you drop the idle back down, and then you turn the fuel off a little bit more, and then the idle will rise. And then you turn the idle down, and then you turn the fuel off again, and then the idle drops because there's not enough. Right. And you go, okay. And then you back off a little bit. Yep. And that is the sweet spot of your idle. That's where you need to be. That's correct. So then from there, if your progression circuit is too lean and it starts stumbling as you roll into it, some guys will go, fuck it, and they just throw richer idle jet
Right.
in there to
Yeah.
cover up that problem. And that is not
Correct.
the right way to do it. Okay, it causes
Yeah.
shitty fuel economy, causes plug fouling, it causes all kinds of issues, right? It's just, you don't want to do that. It's not what you want to do.
Correct.
And I was frustrated. So I said, okay, I don't know. So I tried all kinds of things. I tried different gas. So here's the thing. Here's what happened. Oh, this is something that happened with Jeff. Do you remember me talking about how I got water in my fuel tank by going to the gas and stop? Do you remember this?
I vaguely
ran
do,
like
because
shit?
I remember it happened to me in Indy. Yeah.
Yeah, except that's not what happened. And I know this now, looking back.
Okay.
That isn't
Tell
what
me
happened.
what happened.
All right. So I go to the gas station to get race fuel. And I put race fuel in the car, and I'm driving around a little bit. And all of a sudden, it goes from going what to just it sounds like a VR6 almost, where it's like
Right.
And it is,
yeah, not linear.
And you're like, okay, obviously, and it is the same thing that happened. What's ironic is it happened at that gas and stop right away. And then the same thing happened shortly after I left the gas station. And I left the gas station, and the first thing I did is I just fucking railed that throttle. I'm like, I want to know what, hammer down. This is great. Got race gas. And it did the same thing again. I'm like, great. I got water in my gas tank again.
That's what you're thinking.
It's because I'm the first guy to the race gas, and there was water in there
or something,
mixed with kerosene or whatever the case may be. So I drained it all out, and I run it on my lawnmower now. My lawnmower smells awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but that's not what actually happened.
Okay, so then I put different fuel in, and
Yep.
it still kind of runs shitty. And I'm like, what's going on? And I started fiddling with the carburetors, doing different jets, and like tuning, and it just nonstop. I can never get it right. And I'm like, sometimes it runs good, runs perfect, and sometimes it runs really bad. And I go, and I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start from scratch. So I take the air cleaners off, and I start from
I did
scratch.
hear that, by the way.
Yeah, you can hear that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, what is one thing you do from scratch right away before you even touch the idle jets? The first thing you
timing.
do.
Don't even deal
timing,
with fueling.
Yes, timing's fine.
Okay.
Timing's correct.
Yeah.
With the carburetors, the first thing you do is
disconnect everything.
So
they're running independently.
First of all, you sync the carburetors is what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
I go, these carburetors aren't in sync. So first of all, I sync the idle.
Yep.
I take the bars off, the linkages.
Yep.
So each carburetor is completely disconnected from the other one, and you adjust the idle so that they're synced, and then you hook the throttle bars back up. You rev it up to 3,000, and you put the synchrometer in, which measures how much air is going into the carburetor.
Right.
And you look, and I'm like, wow, these things are really out of sync. So what do you need to do then? You adjust the bars. And I go, wait a second. And I look at the crossbar.
Right.
There's a bar that goes from one carburetor to the other.
Right.
The bolts are about to fall out of it on one side. So that crossbar was rocking back and forth and back
the whole time,
and forth from being, hey, we're in sync. Sometimes. Hey, we're out of sync. Hey, we're in sync and we're going to run great. Hey, we're out of sync.
Wow.
Okay. So I would have never, ever gotten it to run well. Never.
Right. No.
I found this out, I was driving down to a friend's shop, and it took me 3.5 hours to do a 1 hour drive because I was like fucking with the carburetors,
stopping the whole time.
Stopping and fixing, and stopping and fixing and stopping and fixing. And I finally got it synced right. Okay. So I got it synced right, and it still kind of runs bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now we can start focusing on jetting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had, I don't need to go into jet sizes. Needless to say, the thing was so rich to compensate for being out of sync and for like not returning to everything was disgustingly rich.
Rich.
It had F11 emulsion tubes in it. Too rich. It had it was way too rich. So I got home. It kind of ran
across all three.
What?
Throttles? You didn't find like one that was different than the other 5, did you?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, I thought for some reason that was
that was the Mercedes, which we can talk about in a second. I got it. So I'm driving home like an hour and a half later. It's like essentially the thing is being waterboarded by fuel.
Yeah, that's not good.
So I get all the way home, and I do my lean best thing the next day. I get in. I'm like, wow, I had to go down an entire jet size, and then
because you
turn
couldn't
them
get there on
in,
the adjusters.
and then I put different emulsion tubes in, which is an
Okay.
F16. F11 is for a bigger displacement engine than I have. Put F16s in there. Put different air correctors in, different idle jets, all one change at a time. You change one thing,
as you
test.
should.
You change the next thing, you test. Otherwise, you don't know what you did. And this is a philosophy that goes throughout the whole car. Suspension, brakes,
should be.
Anything you do.
Correct.
Do one thing, see what happens. And then you can know what you did. Otherwise, you're just
too many variables.
You're just throwing shit at the wall, being like, is it better? One thing at a time. So I did one thing at a time, and it got better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. And pretty soon, right now, and I had also put 42 millimeter Venturis in there at one time before I left for this place. I took those out too, and I just went completely
back to 38.
I went back to, this is like technically what this car should have based on, there's math for all of this.
Oh yeah,
based on port
especially
size,
with PMOs
displacement
and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing is new here.
Right. There's a formula because this has all been done before.
It's all been done. Plus, with any kind of, if you have displacement, Venturi size, throttle body size, you can RPM, kind of go, okay, and then RPM.
Yep.
You can do, there's mathematical equations.
Right.
It's not totally black magic. Everybody thinks it's all black magic. It's not totally black magic.
It's just complex and it's mechanical, right?
Yeah,
it's not something you can just tune.
So I went back to all these mathematical equations and I put it all back to like baseline where you would start.
Sure.
Fucking runs mint.
That's awesome.
It starts up, it idles, it revs up, it returns to idle. All it was just returning, looking at the displacement, looking at my throttle bodies, which are 46 with 38 millimeter chokes, looking at what 9,000 other people have done, and putting that shit in there, and it just runs. It runs
That's awesome.
Absolutely fucking perfectly. I think I can probably put the 42 millimeter Venturis back in now.
Yep, and get a little more top end.
Get a little more top end.
What is the moral of the story there? I mean, I know what it is check your basics, right?
Don't assume. Don't assume.
Yeah.
But don't assume anything.
If you had the same problem again, or maybe on a different car, would you now go and like look at linkage, or how do you apply that, I guess, to the broader?
Don't assume and don't trust anybody. Just trust your intuition and just whatever. Just go with your gut, I guess, is kind of the mentality of it. You know, I've been through more trouble with carburetors than anybody in the world, I think.
Yeah.
You know, most people don't have as much trouble as I do. But I've been in some pretty interesting situations with carburetors that had a casting defect, right? These had a casting defect. Marco discovered that, and that helped a lot fixing that. So I've had some interesting issues. And then the Mercedes have like this flooding issue that I've had. You know, now everything runs pretty good. The Mercedes runs really nice. You know, it's honestly one of the smoothest running. That thing was too rich too. I jetted down 2 main jet sizes.
Wow.
And 1 idle jet size, and it runs really, really good.
That's
awesome. So that's
what the best running like project car I have is the old C10, the truck that I drove this weekend.
Well, I hope so. The thing is basically made with sticks and bubble gum.
Dude, it's so dialed in though.
You open up the hood of that old truck, and
there's great.
There's nothing in there. It looks like it was pilfered. There's nothing in the engine compartment.
I know.
Just one carburetor,
one carb, one Rochester.
You have to get rid of that red distributor.
Oh my God. I wanted HEI ignition just to like that.
What does HEI stand for?
High in something, high HEI.
Excitement.
High excitement? Is that what it is?
High excitement in ignition.
Ignition. Okay.
Yeah, it's high.
It's basically
not true at all.
No. Okay. HEI ignition. I used to know this. Why am I being high energy ignition? Yeah, high energy.
I like high excitement.
Yeah.
Higher education institution.
It's a GM, actually. It was designed by GM. And it basically just has like the coil on and there's no points. And so it's basically you're changing to an electronic ignition on it.
Dude,
that was
I'm
the
so
only like
frustrated
modern
that
thing I've done on that.
I can't find Pertronics or a way to get rid of the points on the Mercedes. I don't want to run.
See, I don't understand why that isn't available.
They're not in stock. I've ordered it and it's on intergalactic back order. And then I call them up and they're kind of, honestly, the Pertronics guy was kind of a douchebag.
Really?
Which makes me not want to buy anything from him at all.
I've
So I
heard
can
some
either-
people that like do not like them at all, and I thought that was you actually that
Well,
did
I don't
not
like them
Pertronics.
as people. I'll tell you that right
Okay,
now.
yes.
I can either swap out. Here's two things I can do.
Okay,
I can either get one of those stupid Bluetooth distributors,
they're expensive. They're
or
very expensive.
I can get a hall sender distributor from a newer version of this engine.
Which is basically like the stock Pertronics that you would put in the old distributor.
Yeah, but
just do that.
It's made with millions of dollars of research and investment from
Right.
Bosch.
Yes.
Instead of just
but it's
like
a hall sensor distributor.
yes. So I thought I
Just
would
do that.
I had
Do that.
one, but it was so crusty and rusty that I didn't feel comfortable using it. So I've got to go on eBay, order one, and it's just one.
You know what
that's
we
like
should have just as a cool old tool is a distributor curve tuner. Like those big machines that spins it up and you put it on it, it tells you exactly where the curve is on the old distributor. Like I feel like that's something most shops don't have anymore because no one works on points distributors.
well, it's not just points. You know,
No,
like
you're right,
You still
but,
have
like,
weights and like some
You're
of
right.
the other.
Yeah, and so you have to tune the weights and stuff. But
Yeah. for
I
when you
want one of
the
those old
emission.
machines. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to do that. That sounds tedious. That sounds like something I would want to pay somebody to do.
I don't know why. That's what interests me though. Like that sort of mechanical work. Not putting my 944 back together.
Yeah, that's kind of what
Let's
I'm
not
thinking.
do
Is
that.
that sounds like
Let's recurve distributors.
it's got ADD written all
Big
over it. All
time.
right, what else do we? Oh, so we're going to Road America.
That is true. We
Maybe.
are going to Road America.
Well, we're
Maybe.
going. I might end up sleeping on the floor of a friend's garage.
I'm also going, but maybe out in Sheboygan.
Yeah, our hotel plans have fallen through.
Well, I just texted the person, and we'll see what the situation is. No, no dice.
Well, how long have we been doing this? Can we hang up the phone? What do we got here?
Are you bored of me?
A
What, are you
little
bored
bit.
of me already?
I'm a little
Oh my
bored of you.
goodness. All right. I guess
There
we can
was something
call it.
else we were going to talk about, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
you
it
said
was.
you wanted to talk about news.
Oh yeah, I do have a couple news things I wanted to mention. You tell me which one of these you want to talk about, okay?
Okay.
I'll go
yeah,
through these headlines, and you tell me. I got to back. Okay, we can talk about. Hold on, I started typing
yeah.
in.
Holding.
How Toyota plans to become an electric car leader. We can talk about Governor DeSantis signing a bill to ban direct-to-consumer car sales. The Ford CEO saying the Tesla Cybertruck isn't even a real pickup truck for real people. The new Rivian R2.
Ooh, an R2, huh?
R2. FedEx is accused of the largest odometer rollback fraud in history. That's the ones I've got. That's what I've got. What do you
Okay,
want?
I'm curious about this FedEx deal. That seems pretty spicy.
All right. The lawsuit accuses FedEx of replacing the odometers in many of its vans with new ones that read 0 miles, using the vans for a bit longer after that, and then selling them at an auction with 100,000 miles or less on the new odometers. With such low indicated
Wow.
mileage, business owners were buying the vans for top dollar, thinking they were
Sure.
pretty fresh.
Yeah.
However, their real mileage was sometimes as much as 4 times the odometer readout, thus leading to countless mechanical issues that would cost the customers far
Yeah.
more money. In some
And
cases,
you
the
don't
issues
really
would be
know. You would just be like, wow, I guess it had hard miles for
hard
100,000.
life. Man, this thing was driving around Minneapolis for sure. In some cases, the issues would be so severe, the vans were useless, and businesses went bust.
Really?
According to KTNV Las Vegas, Tom Layton of Henderson, Nevada, first noticed FedEx's odometer rollbacks in 2017. Layton, who's been buying and selling trucks and vans for 36 years, bought a FedEx Freightliner truck with around 180,000 indicated miles, which on a Freightliner would be not much.
Yeah, no.
When he sold the truck, his buyer hooked it up to a computer that told him the real mileage was around 400,000 miles.
Wait, okay. So it's in the ECU, it's stored.
Layton filed his own lawsuit back then, which is separate from the class action lawsuit FedEx is currently facing. Since then, customers from California, Tennessee, New Jersey, Florida, and Virginia have all noticed odometer rollbacks on former FedEx vehicles. I'm trying to find like their response.
Right.
FedEx
like, how
denies
is this...
the allegations. They deny it.
Well, was this just like a one-off, like one shop or whatever that FedEx uses was doing this when they sent them to auction? Or is this like, was this a policy? You know what I mean? Was this across the board?
Listen, FedEx didn't always sell its retired vans. Once they hit about 350,000 miles, they would usually scrap them. It wasn't until 2011 that FedEx started auctioning old vans off through its fleet company Holman Fleet Leasing, also a defendant in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
The lawsuit alleges both FedEx and Holman intentionally replaced the odometers to artificially inflate the value of the vans so they'd sell for higher prices at various auctions. So here's the deal. There's no way. So if this is their leasing company, FedEx's leasing company, they own it probably. It's a subsidiary that they use to protect themselves maybe. This didn't go all the way up to the CEO of FedEx going, roll back those odometers.
It's this third-party leasing whatever
it
fleet
is,
company
and then
that's like, we can pad our wallet a bit.
Just to pad their numbers because they wanted to look good to their... Yeah, FedEx, with the knowledge and assistance of Holman, replaced thousands of odometers on FedEx Holman vehicles, the lawsuit states. Though odometers, as automotive components, do occasionally wear out or malfunction and need to be replaced, there was no valid reason for this large-scale replacement of odometers.
No.
It isn't illegal to replace them or even illegal to sell odometers that are inaccurate, but you must disclose it, the lawsuit says. Quote, defendants purposely failed or refused to attach such a warning because they intended to mislead potential buyers of the vehicles. However, FedEx denies the allegations. Quote, we are aware of the allegations made in the complaint and will vigorously defend the lawsuit, says FedEx.
Wow.
Yes. This one also, this really makes me angry. I don't like this. Governor DeSantis signs bill to ban direct-to-consumer
I
car
do want to
sales.
hear about that because that used to be just across the board a thing that you could not sell direct-to-consumer.
Why not?
Right. Because
this is like
I know.
Salesmen
I don't know the reason
across Florida can rejoice in a bill Governor Ron, or as Trump would say, Ron DeSanctimonious, signed into law that bans most direct-to-consumer auto sales. Under the law, it bars automakers from selling their vehicle directly to the buyer. The FADA, the FADA, Florida Automobile Dealers Association, gave a lot of money to Florida's government and basically paid off all these people.
Yeah,
and as a major advocate for the bill, stating it protects dealerships What?
Lobbyists. That's how it works. Yeah.
It is 100% lobbying. The bill also restricts none of that was actually said, though. That was me.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Also restricts manufacturers from requiring dealers to sell or lease a car at a specified rate. Additionally, refusing to provide a dealer with a supply of new vehicles by model, blah, 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 is also banned. So your dealer must be given cars by the manufacturer. It also forbids the requirement that dealers set the vehicle price at rates manufacturers
they can set whatever they want. So the over retail dealer padding, that's brutal. Fine.
This is
So Tesla, I think, was one of the first to say, like, no, we're selling direct to consumer. There is no Tesla dealership network.
However, on that note, lobbyists and lawmakers were able to work out a deal that allows electric vehicle companies like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid to hold franchise dealer license for direct sales of EVs if they are not otherwise prohibited under federal law. DeSantis also signed a record state budget that prioritizes transportation infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. Great.
Yeah, well, doesn't make any sense.
How great would it be if you could just go on Ford's website, pick the car, just go doot, 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 pay the money, and the car is just delivered.
Careful. That's exactly what Tesla does.
That's what I want.
I know.
That's what I don't want to go to a dealer.
That.
I don't want to go to a dealer. I don't want to deal with a salesman. I don't want to go to the loan office.
The only reason you would want to go to a dealer is just to test drive, right? What is the vehicle I actually want? Sure. That should be what the third party model is. Everyone buys their car online, just like Amazon.
Yep.
And then there's these third parties that just have a fleet of one of everything. It's a used car dealer, and you pay them maybe a one-time fee to test drive all of them. That's how they make money.
Maybe. What would the
or
test
they
drive?
Can buy it online or something. You know what I mean? Like,
people would reject that, I think.
Oh, big time. Huge loss of revenue on multiple levels. But like, you still want to test drive the cars. So there should just be a place that isn't even a car dealership where you just go pay a fee.
I don't know that
test drive everything.
I don't think people would want to pay to.
Well, there has to be some way that they make money off of doing that. But
that's what the franchise thing is for. You just go there and test drive it there.
I'm also thinking most people,
if the business owner of the dealership that is selling or whatever wants to sell cars, they're going to allow test drives. Some people don't want to test drive, then they can just buy the car. Well, give me the choice. Give me the choice.
Yeah.
Right?
So I have one more thing before we sign off. And I
got another one.
Okay. Well, let me go first. So the reason, though, I don't like the idea of like going from dealer to dealer to test drive every car. My mom is looking for a new small SUV. And she's like, what should I look at? So I gave her like a list of all these cars to look at. And my dad went with her, and they made it to like 1 or 2 dealerships, and they were just kind of fed up with the process, right? Because
it's terrible.
Smarmy salesmen, or they're not helping at all, or like the process
Why do you think
is different
people live
everywhere.
within one brand all their lives?
Exactly, because they don't want to deal with all this. And I was like, but that is the way you should do it. I always recommend go test drive a bunch of stuff so you actually know what you want.
Regular people
But
do not want to spend that much time.
It sucks. Yes, exactly. So that's why I'm saying, wouldn't it be cool if
Too
there
big
was
to fail,
one
Jake.
spot?
Too big to fail.
I know. But think about it. As like a consumer, you go to one place, you're saying, I want a small SUV. Okay, what's your price range? Okay, hey, look, these 5 cars in that corner are what is in your price range that you should look at. Go test drive those.
What about like a car dealership, like mega building, where it's
right?
Jeep,
That's what
Chrysler,
it would
GM, Volkswagen. It's just like
but
this
those
mega
are all different
building.
Makes. Yeah, you can't. I mean, there's auto malls where they're all next to each other.
Yeah, but those are
it's still a pain in the butt,
It
right?
is, because they don't want you to leave, man. So they're like, hey,
gosh, no.
it's brutal.
So
okay.
the reason though that she's looking for a new vehicle is she has a Jeep. I have to find the recall that she got. Did I send you this recall notice?
No.
It is so terrible and so funny. So why don't you tell me your next story while I find this?
Okay. Or this is for rally goers and
Okay.
and happy Oregonians.
Okay.
Oregon
Not sure.
House votes to let Oregonians to pump their own gas.
Heck yeah.
A similar
about time.
proposal died last year after the state fire marshal argued it would be too expensive. How is that?
Why is it expensive?
Why is it too
How
expensive?
is there any cost?
The Oregon House on Monday overwhelmingly approved. So I posted about this on social, and I was like, hey, rally goers, this is great. You guys don't have to deal with all this bullshit that I dealt with when I was out there having to like fend people off with a stick so I could pump my own diesel fuel. I got so many messages like, well, people are going to lose their jobs. I'm like, so come on, man.
Paying someone just to sit there and pump. I know they do have gas station attendants that do that.
Part of
it's
part of the cost. But here's,
right.
I think what it is that now you have to offer. You are still required to offer the full service option, but people can also pump their own gas. Yes. So you're still nobody's losing their job. You still have to have the guy, but now the guy is
attendant that now just sitting there on a stool.
He's just sitting
nothing.
there getting paid.
Great. So now they're going to go out of business because they have to pay this guy to do nothing.
Yep.
Okay.
Stations in Oregon's most populous counties would still be required to employ at least one attendant and charge the same amount for gas from full service pumps as they do for self-serve. So it's like, it's so mandated and regulated. It's just ridiculous.
That's very weird.
The cost of gas in Oregon when you drive from like Boise to Oregon is like ridiculous.
Oh, so that is built into the cost.
Yeah, of course it is. Nobody's doing this for free.
No, I know, but I didn't know how it's like if it's that significant that you can see it. So then will you pay less for self-service? Will it be like a fee?
No, they're saying you can't. They're saying that you
that's
can't
what
pay.
They're saying. Got it.
You have to charge the same. But
wow.
Why?
Yeah. I would still want to do it myself regardless.
Well, I would like I think it's nice to have the option for people. Like where I grew up in Wisconsin, there was like a couple old school gas stations that had the side.
You drive over the thing and it goes
ding ding.
Yep.
And it's great for like I think it's great
elderly
for if you're nicely dressed that day.
Sure.
It's great for women that don't want to get out in their nice dresses or whatever. And handle diesel pumps, gas pumps, whatever.
Ugh.
It's great for the elderly.
Yeah.
But I don't need it. Give me the choice.
Right.
Again.
Exactly.
Again. Choice.
Because guess what?
Choose.
Especially pull up in your 911, the 72 1 year only, and they're going to start filling up your oil tank like they all did back in the 70s. That's
State
what's going
law
to happen.
currently states that pumping your own gas can subject drivers to a variety of dangers.
Oh no.
Including
scare tactics.
Including fumes. We only want those gas station attendants that don't even have citizenship to have the fumes.
Can
right?
die.
We want the guy from like I don't know, Panama. That's the dude that needs the fumes, not me. Not little old middle class housewife me. I want all those immigrants to smoke the fumes up. Slick surfaces. I only want the Mexicans to slip and fall.
Slick surfaces.
Yeah,
okay.
I only want those guys to slip and fall.
Okay, continue.
I only want fumes and slick surfaces to my immigrant friends.
Okay,
dude,
we don't need to be.
It's bullshit.
Oh, a big time.
It's such a dumb, how elitist and arrogant is that I only want these people that are being paid minimum wage to experience this? Not
It's
me.
interesting.
I won't do it. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right.
And leaving children unattended.
How? You're right there.
I don't know, dude. It's just what it says.
Okay.
Running afoul of the rule, foul, can result in a $500 fine. And the state has long bucked protestations by gas station owners and many residents that the requirement is outmoded.
Wow.
As explained by gas station owners, finding employees to pump gas is extremely hard because nobody wants to breathe fumes and slip and fall down, apparently. And even impossible in some cases, which makes it impossible to keep gas stations open and operating. This relieves the pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. This
exactly
goes on
what
and
I
on
say.
and on and on. This is, see if there's anything else interesting in here. Blah, blah, blah. Minimal fiscal impact, blah, blah, blah. Great. Awesome.
Okay.
So you can pump your own gas on the rally. It's awesome. It's great.
That is actually very good because it goes into effect immediately. Like it's already in effect. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So
now everybody, even the middle class and rich, will inhale fumes and slip and fall down.
Slip and fall and
inhale gas fumes, just like all the ditch diggers.
Absolutely
so
terrible.
Ridiculous.
All right. So as I alluded to, my mom is looking for a new vehicle. She currently has a 2015 Jeep Cherokee, not the Grand Cherokee. So the Cherokee is like the small SUV, and it's the Trailhawk. So it's the cool off-road looking one. But I'm going to read to you just the highlights of this recall that they received. Okay. Mm-hmm. So an electrical short in the power liftgate module may lead to a vehicle fire with the ignition on or off.
No,
you don't have to have the car running or anything. Okay,
just
sure.
Out.
So
just like the wiring behind my mirror in the bathroom. Got it.
Yes, exactly. So okay, so you have to bring it in to get it fixed, right? Like they're going to fix it for you.
Yes.
No, a remedy for this condition is not currently available.
Oh,
well then, what do they expect you to do, Chris? Well, customers are advised. Listen to this. Customers are advised to not park these vehicles inside of buildings or structures or near any other vehicle.
So just park it in your backyard, right in the middle of the yard.
What are you supposed to do? Well, that's literally an official recall from
a Chevy Bolt or something. That's also what you're supposed to do. You can't park electric vehicles inside.
Okay, so you can't park them inside, but then you can't park them in a parking lot, which is by other cars.
Nope.
So what? Like literally, go find a field, park it in the middle of it, don't drive it, forget about it.
So dumb.
And by the way, we don't have a fix for it.
The fix would be just to remove the switch and cap off the wires.
Probably. Yes,
and then, but this, you know what their actual switch is? The fix? It's just have a manual tailgate.
Exactly.
Hello?
But no vehicle has that anymore because it's another.
I wanted to mention this. I think this is interesting.
It's another feature that has become now, quote unquote, mandatory or expected. Right?
It is just because it's expected. So I'll make this short. But Toyota has new batteries coming out. This is interesting.
Okay.
Next generation lithium-ion batteries due in 2026. So like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Around the corner. Yeah.
Good for 1,000 kilometers, 600 miles.
On a charge, you're saying?
Yeah. 600 miles on a charge, and will charge from 10 to 20 to 80% in 20 minutes.
Wow.
The next step from there that they're saying is 1,500 kilometers solid-state batteries are coming.
Wow.
It's a pretty big deal.
That is a big deal.
Pretty big deal. 1,000.
It's funny.
600. That's 600 miles. 600 miles and 900 miles, respectively.
That's huge.
That's more than anybody gets out of their gasoline car.
Gas vehicle. No,
Nobody gets that. Everybody gets 300 miles?
400, 300 or 400, depending on how big your tank is. Yeah.
250 to 350, depending.
I was going to say, it's funny because I had ran this. I thought this recall was so ridiculous, so I sent it to our friend Joel Fetter. And he said two things. He goes, one, you will not believe how common that sort of stuff is because the lawyers need to basically cover their ass, right? So they're making it very dramatic sounding because then if something does happen, they can say, well, we told you can't drive it. We told you to park it out in the middle of the field. But the other thing he said is, thank goodness for electric vehicles because a lot of these problems won't be around. At the same time, it's a double-edged sword because now everything is electronic and you have all these new systems to deal with. So sure, you're going to have the range of 600 miles and no gas engine that needs a recall, but you're also going to have all these systems that also will break because now everything's automated and nothing's simple.
It's new. I mean, we'll see where things go. I still don't feel like I want an electric car yet. I don't feel like I'm there.
I don't either. And it's going to be interesting. No.
Nothing out there. What about this Rivian R2?
What is that? I don't know what that is yet. Is that their smaller? version.
Yeah, it's like a smaller little SUV thing. It looks
I could
cool.
see that being cool.
They have revealed exciting details. Blah blah blah. Launched earlier than expected. The highly anticipated unveiling is scheduled for early 2024. Probably no one will be able to order one for like 25 years. Probably.
It looks similar. I assume it's just smaller.
Small.
Starts at 40.
It's targeted to be 40 grand. That's what kind of excites me about it.
Because
40 to 60 grand. Obviously, you'll be able to. I wouldn't want the 40 grand one, probably because it's just going to be like.
Oh, it's going to be total,
dumb,
base model, everything. But this is what we've asked for. We've asked for simpler electric cars.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's going to be simpler. I don't really know anything about this, but the price, price coming down, because I think an R1 is like $75,000. They're super expensive. And of course, this one here has got a rooftop tent. Are those fuel tanks on the top, or what are those on the top on this picture?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of funny. No, they're just duffel bags.
Duffel bags. All right. On that note, guys, that's it. Next week, I don't know what's going on next week.
Well, all I know is if you have a 2015 Jeep, don't drive it. Park it in the field.
Park it in the field. All right, guys. Yep. We will see you next Tuesday.
All right. Take care.